Shout out to Albert Bird for tagging me in this story on Twitter. And let me just say, like, when I did that video the other day, talking about Barack Obama and the things that happened with him, in the Obama administration, what came out about Mitch McConnell, that was one thing. But now I gotta go at him for a whole nother thing that just came out of his mouth recently. So I'm looking at this article that's coming from BBC News, in which Barack Obama said women are better leaders than men. And he said that they are not only did he say that they're better leaders, but he said that indisputably, which means cannot be denied whatsoever, whether opinion or fact, that women are just better than men, period. Mind you, this is the same guy that was also raised by a single mother. Let's just take out the fact that we know that she's a palm-colored woman. But this is a man who was raised by a single mother. He is the only man in his household because he's around a lot of estrogen, being his wife and his two daughters. And I think when he was in the White House, Michelle's mother was there with him. So that's another layer of female there. He rarely had any male. I guess you could say he didn't grow up with a male. I guess you could say a father figure, because apparently his dad wasn't around. When you couple all of that in, you get statements like this, but it also goes into pandering. There are women out there that would not even believe what he's saying. To the women out there, you have to know when someone is blowing smoke up your ass. And this one is right. This is a perfect one right here, because he's actually said something like this before in the past. But now he's saying indisputably, which means, like I said, it can't be denied, or it cannot be not acknowledged. Now, I'm not saying that women don't make good leaders, but wait till I get through this article and you're going to be like, hold up, like where is he really going with this? He said if women ran every country in the world, there would be a general improvement in living standards and outcomes, former U.S. President Barack Obama has said. He said that the world would be so much better if a woman ran every country, not have one, like maybe a few here and there, but every country in the world. Remember, there are 7 continents. In Africa, being, the motherland, there are several countries. In Asia, there's several countries. In Europe, there are several countries. Of course, in North America, there are 3: Canada, U.S., Mexico. Then you have the various countries in South America, or what they call Latin America. And then you have Australia. We don't really count Antarctica because there's really nothing there. I don't even know how that managed to be a continent, but whatever. Really let that sink in for a second there. Idealistically, that would not work. I'm just saying, on paper, it would not work. I'm just saying. Because I'll take it back a little bit. Who remembers Margaret Thatcher? It's a reason why they called her the Iron Lady, because they said she ruled with an iron fist that no one has ever seen before. They said she was one of the worst people, not leaders, but one of the worst people to run a parliament when she was in office, when she was in her position. And he's saying this as if he says that they ran every country. I guess that's easy coming from somebody who really didn't run the country they were supposed to be the president of. I bet y'all didn't expect me to say that. Speaking in Singapore, he said women aren't perfect, but are indisputably better than men. That right there is what can set up a gender divide right there. You heard that. He said indisputably better than men. That's something I would expect a feminazi to say. But then again, you do have some men out here who have probably taken so many soy boy pills, and it has replaced their masculinity with femininity. It has replaced their testosterone with estrogen. And if they want to go the extra mile, you know what else could be replaced with something else. But for him to come out of his mouth and say that, that is an insult to men. It's also an insult to people, period, because there's a lot of women out there that don't even believe that. But if you fill their head with that, a lot of them will take it and run with it. He said most of the problems in the world came from old people, mostly men, holding on to positions of power. He also spoke about political positions and the use of social media to spread falsehoods. Speaking at a private event on leadership, Mr. Obama said while in office, he had mused what a world run by women would look like. Now, women, I just want you to know you are not perfect, but what can I say pretty indisputably is that you're better than us men. Then if you want to insult yourself, you can go right ahead and say that you're better than me or better than I. Like, he just threw the whole male gender under the bus with these statements. I just want y'all to know that. He threw the entire XY chromosome under the bus with that statement. This is an insult. Almost everybody should be insulted by this. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that you should be, but in a way you kind of should be. I'm absolutely confident that for 2 years, if every nation on earth was run by women, you would see a significant improvement across the board on just about everything. Living standards and outcomes. Well, I'll give you another example of another nation that fell under the rulership of a woman. As a matter of fact, it kind of went down because of a woman. Cleopatra, in her story, how she came in and she pretty much destroyed that country and pretty much brought down an entire kingdom because of what was between her legs and because she pitted two men against each other. Now, just imagine if you had a bunch of Cleopatras trying to run a nation, like run every country. This world would fall out of orbit. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that every man who has ran a country is the best person for the job. But the part that got me was when he said that women were indisputably better than men. That would make it seem like men just ain't shit. Former Mr. President, you might as well just come out and say what a lot of people, especially a lot of women, love to say about black men and just say niggas ain't shit. That's what you might as well have just said that. That might have been the thing that came out of your mouth. When asked if he would ever consider going back into political leadership, he said he believed in leaders stepping aside when the time came. If you look at the world and look at the problems, it's usually old people, usually old men, not getting out of the way. It is important for political leaders to try and remind themselves that you are there to do a job, but you are not there for life. You are not there in order to prop up your own sense of self-importance or your own power. Barack Obama served as U.S. president from 2009 to 2017. Since leaving the White House, he and former Lady Michelle Obama have set up a foundation mentoring young leaders around the world. This was nothing more than a pandering piece. These were nothing more than pandering statements. I wonder how much he actually believes in the statement that he says. And to be honest, now I remember the time he kind of did it. Remember when he was getting ready to leave office and he said if people didn't vote for Hillary Clinton, that would be a stain onto his legacy? Do y'all remember that? That was a huge insult to us all. And he tried to guilt us into voting for this woman, knowing her history, knowing her husband's history, and saying that this would be a stab or a jab or whatever he said at his legacy. At that point, we were already over him. And when she didn't get in, we kind of just laughed at them both, to be quite honest. Laughed at the pandering she did and laughed at the pandering campaign that he tried to run for her. talking about it would have been a stain on your legacy. We all got a glimpse of your legacy, and trust me, her getting in would not have even put a drop on your legacy. Your legacy was already filthy before you even decided to say, if we didn't vote for her, that it would be a jab onto your legacy. You want to know what your legacy was consisted of? Let's see. Gaddafi. I believe, let me know if I'm right or wrong, but I want to say, was it Syria? Of course, and this is the big one right here, the Alphabet Academy in all of its ilk, and a whole lot more. Oh yeah, don't forget singing Al Green, and some other things that I can't quite name at the moment. But you wanted us to vote for Hillary Clinton, the same woman that called black boys super predators and had the nerve to try to guilt trip us into it. And then you come out and say that women are indisputably better than men. That, when those feminazis hear that, that's going to run straight to their ego. And you know what's going to happen? If somebody was to oppose what they said or go back and forth, they said, you can't say that about us. You know why? Because Barack Obama said that we're indisputably better than men. So there. And these are probably some of the same women that probably couldn't stand his guts when he was in office. I bet you. But yeah, don't fall for this rhetoric here. And no, this is not a bashing video against women, because I know somebody out there going to look at this and say that I'm being anti-female. No, actually, I'm not. I'm just being steeped in reality. And the reality of what this is what came out of his mouth. All of it was some bullshit. I know it. You know it. And I think deep down he knows it was some bullshit as well. I will talk to you all in the next one.